gevestigde core of the side is playing. So what are those goals that you set and the targets?
I think we just want to go out and play our game. I know it's a Barbarians game that everyone looks at and think it can be loose. And they might, or they want to try and make it loose, but we're just going to stick to our processes as we do in every other game. For us, it's a normal test, and that's how we're going to handle it and go into the game with that, and obviously hope to be successful in that way.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations. Hi, Andre. Andre, just for you, looking at the bench, it looks like you and Jesse are set for 80 minutes each. Who's the centre cover? Is Vusi Moya? He's from the Sharks with you. Is he going to cover centre?
Yeah, I think there's more than enough cover in the squad. We know a lot of players can play different positions, and everyone at the moment knows who's going where, and what if something happens. Who's going to what position, so everything is sorted and everyone knows exactly what to do. But yes, everything's covered on our side.
Stephen?
Thanks, C. Andre, if I don't know if I'm maybe remember correctly, but last year against the Barbarians, was that the beginning of your hybrid life? And then Kewan this weekend, just what your thoughts are, or what your advice would be to him, and then just your thoughts on him, his potential as a 10.
Yeah, I think we can all agree he's a very good player with a lot of skill and a good reading of the game. I think he slotted into the 10 position very good, especially in training. He's been working hard, learning on the go as well. But yeah, I think with support inside and outside him, players who can help him and guide him, I think he will be very good in that position. And yeah, it's a great option to have as a utility back.
Thanks. Hi, Andre. Hi, Luan. Luan, for you, you've obviously been sort of dubbed as, the next rising star and all of those stuff. How do you sort of block the noise and sort of focus on what you need to do as a youngster coming through?
I think for me, it's just focusing on my process, focusing on things that I have to do to get better. Obviously, the media and outside noise is always going to be there, and it's going to be there for the next stars coming up. And I think it's just to focus on yourself, have the right system around you, especially in this system. I can ask for help for anybody in this position, and the coaches and the players are so helpful. So I think it's just to focus on what you're doing, what your process is, and yeah, at the end of the day, just try to shut out the noise.
Lita?
Andre, just back at you. We know at the start of the year, Rassie and the other coaches like to put you through what has been described as very rigorous training in terms of fitness. Just how was it this time around? And then do you feel you guys who haven't played maybe in a URC quarterfinal or Premiership or top 14, whatever it may be, do you guys feel that you are at that level fitness-wise that you can put up a full 80 on Saturday?
Yeah, I think coming into Springbok camp, you always know it's going to be tough. If you want to play at the highest level, you need to train at the highest level. So before we had our alignment camps, and everyone knew what the targets were and what the requirements is to come into the squad and to perform here at fitness levels. And yeah, I think the guys who hasn't played, the guys who has played, I think most of us are on the same level, and the fitness levels are good. And everyone has been working hard the last 2 weeks, like we've said, but that's what's required.
Ross?
Thanks, Steve. How's it, guys? Andre, a lot has been said, obviously, about your hybrid role over the last year. And, we've seen other players around the world now starting to get into it, like Lester Fayenganaku down in New Zealand with a lot of success. Has Rassie and the other coaches earmarked a few other players to transition to that type of role this season, and that you'll be helping mentor, in getting up to speed on that?
I think we sit with a squad here where there's so many utility players anyway. So yes, there is players training obviously in different positions, like you've seen Kieran moving to 10. But yeah, it's not something we put all our focus on. It's something that's it's obviously an extra and nice to have, but it's not something that we're going out to develop, or if I could say it in that way.
Avile?
Luan, you also quite a versatile player. I think JP once said you can also play 9 and 10. Is that the versatility you want to bring to this SAA side for the weekend? And then how is your experience with 7s sort of helped you in the 15s game, you would say?
Yes, I play many positions actually. I've jogged onto the field for the junior box as a 9 as well, against Ireland last year, and as well as 10 previous, like in the last year's end. So yeah, I have some other positions I can cover, but I think I can bring that versatility in terms of when I'm on the bench or when I'm playing. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was focused on the role I've given, like this weekend on 15. So yeah, I can cover a few positions, but like just to focus on the position I'm given. And then on the 7s, I think it developed my game in many aspects, like maybe like more skillful, like defense, like tracking, things like that. And then it goes over so well to 15 man, and I got the opportunity to be able to express those skills that I've gotten at the 7s in 15 man, and yeah, it's helped me so much.
Ross?
Andre, I think this year has been, the most amount of youngsters in the Springbok training group, ahead of the start of the season. How was that experience for you? And are you really excited, for the future of SA Rugby, seeing these youngsters in action? And also, do you think it's a good thing to get them involved so early and get them mixing with some of the older and more experienced players, ahead of a big season?
I think it's been really exciting to have all the youngsters in. I think they just bring a different kind of energy and a bit of edge. And it's obviously great for them to learn and come through. I mean, as older guys, we can also learn stuff from them, because there's some really exciting talent coming through, and they all need a platform like this to go from. So yeah, it's been really exciting. I think it's a great bunch of guys, all level-headed with their feet on the ground, and everyone's just been head down working hard. And like I said, there's not really seniors or juniors. It's when you come into the squad, it's one squad, and everyone's on the same level.
Stephen?
Thank you, Z. Luan, just what are your expectations from Zimbabwe? Has it been very much a general prep for you guys, because you don't really know the opposition? But just from that perspective, what do you guys anticipate from Zimbabwe?
We've said in the beginning of last week, we're taking them as a serious threat. Obviously, they have going to the World Cup, and their prep has been good, and they obviously strive to become a good rugby nation. And in saying that, we don't have a lot of footage, so we tend to focus on ourselves. We want to develop the things we want to do on the field, and we have a plan, and we want to stick to that plan. So in a way, it was more focused on ourselves and what we want to accomplish. And yeah, it's basically the message for Saturday.
Avile? Avile? Okay. Are there any more questions for them, guys? Yes, Lieten, jy kan in Afrikaans gaan.
Baie dankie, Zee. Luan, net vir jou asseblief, hoe maklik of hoe moeilik was dit om jou verwagtinge in toom te hou toe jy vir die eerste keer daar in die oefenkamp inkom en die bal begin vat met manne wat jy kan sien as wat jou helde was 3-4 jaar terug?
Ag ja, is 'n wonderlike ervaring. Ek dink eerste keer toe die boodskap kry dat ek op gaan kom is dit eintlik maar so amper 'n droom wat begin waar word, maar nee, ag vir my was dit soos hulle vir ons aan die begin van die kamp opgesê ons moet alles inneem soveel as wat ons kan. Ons moet spons wees en ek het probeer dit doen in die afgelope ek sê 'n week en 'n half en ja, dis ouens wat ek nou opgekyk het 'n paar jaar terug en nou moet jy maar net vra en net vra hoe hulle ervaring was en hoe dit was en net advies vra. So nee, dat is eintlik maar crazy as jy aan dink dat jy nou langs hulle staan en langs hulle speel. So nee, ek probeer net alles invat soveel as ek kan.
En is daar familie wat gaan reis met jou?
Ja, hulle behoort my te kom kyk, ja.
Avuyile?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that. Luan, you've played with some guys in that back line before. I think you played with Marcus in the SA school side as well. Does that familiarity sort of help you ahead of this game this weekend?
Yeah, I think a lot about in the back line it helps you a lot is the connection and obviously when coming into the camp you don't always know the guy playing next to you, but in the last week and a half we've been really being acted on to build that connection and obviously the guys that I do know well, it helps to play with them and it just helps to build that connection even further and obviously guys you don't know well we've built that trust and that connection in the week and a half, so I believe it's going to be a thing that we find as a strength on Saturday.
Ken?
Thanks, Ina. Andre, just on the Baba centre pairing, Alex Nankivell is obviously someone you know well from URC playing for Munster. I'm not sure how well you know Vakatawa though. What do you make of their midfield pairing?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a power sense pairing. Nankivell is a very strong abrasive runner, good offload skills and good distribution. So it's going to be a good battle in the centres. And I mean, we've all seen Vakatawa play for France. He's a very experienced centre. He's been around and also, like I said, strong ball carrier. So yeah, I'm excited for the challenge. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, can't wait for this weekend.
Guys, let's take one last question for them because Kablu and Emmanuel are here. So, Ross?
Luan, as Avuyile mentioned there, you know a lot of the guys in that back line that you're playing with, which is very exciting and helps with your synergy. And, you'll probably be lining up alongside most of them at the World Champs. But how exciting is it for sort of all of you to have, slap bang in the middle of your group there, that veteran in Lukhanyo and what have you guys sort of learned from him so far? And what are you hoping to learn from him in the match on Saturday?
No, Lukhanyo is a legend of the game. There's always something to learn from him. And this week, we've learned a lot about like pressure handling, things to do where, and yeah, I feel like he's going to be good on Saturday. It's always someone to turn to when you don't know something. So when the pressure is high, just ask him, listen, what's your advice? Obviously, he's been there. He's operated on the flipping world's highest stage, and it's so nice to be able to turn to him and ask, listen, what do you do? What do you think we should do here? What do you think? And so yeah, it's such a privilege to play alongside him and to ask questions when you worry, and that's just a rock to stand on when something goes wrong or when something goes right. You can even celebrate with them.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Paul. Norman, like I said, you're a student of the game. You like studying and doing your homework, watching videos, not just of your own game, but also opposition. But how has your time with the Springboks been? How have you grown as a player since joining them and training with them and just getting that kind of...
Yeah, hello Anami. Yeah, it's only been a week, but an awesome week. We have learned a lot. We've got awesome players in the squad that I can also learn a lot from. So for me, it's a perfect scenario. We've got good coaches here, we've got good players, and also players that's keen to almost give advice and knowledge over to us newer ones. So it's awesome. Yeah, it's been a good week and a good week of learning.
Yeah, sorry. Dion, you've been lots of new players coming into this squad setup, a lot of youngsters, a lot of uncapped players. How's it been acclimatizing some of the new faces to the things that, you know, the way Springboks want to play?
Yes, no, it's fantastic having the young players into the squad, mixing up with more elder players, more experienced players. I think there's good alignment from our alignment camps and then the progression into this camp. A good understanding in terms of what is expected of everyone, and a good understanding that we do things together, so we learn from each other. And yeah, it was good to see the energy and the enthusiasm and how the players relate to each other and work together to get things done this couple of last week. And we're looking forward to this week to continue with that as we build up into Saturday's games.
Coach Dion, just on the decision to keep preparing here and not moving to PE, and then just the logistics behind being coach of two teams in the same week.
Yeah, I think we actually have settled in our camp this week here in Johannesburg. We're quite comfortable with the surroundings in terms of where we train, and we found it fit to finish all our training here up until Wednesday and then to leave for Port Elizabeth, where we just then obviously go into our captain's run and then into our game. So I think from that perspective, with the numbers also that we have two teams, it is the best thing to finish our preparation here. Yeah, and then obviously in terms of doubling up between two teams, obviously we try to keep things aligned in terms of our plans and the way we want to execute things, and that has been our approach in terms of whatever we've done in the different departments, and especially also from a line-out perspective also, so that we can apply those things that we want this year in terms of setting our standards and in terms of the plans that we are working on. But yeah, the players obviously, with the good students that they are and the way they learn from each other, and the way we've simulated certain stuff to get to what we want, I think it worked well, and I think we're on the right track.
Good morning, Board. The off players this year, especially the forwards, have seemingly been through a casualty list in terms of injuries. One recovers, one gets injured. Just walk us through how have you guys managed that in particular this year?
Yeah, obviously it's not the perfect scenario, especially when you, in my department, when you lose so much locks and players that gets injured. But you know, in this environment, it's very important to adapt. We've learned over the years that we've got so many quality players in the country. Yes, it's sad when a good quality player gets injured and he's not ready to compete. But we saw also in the SA under-21s with the talent. On the 20s, the talent that are available in the country, and it's a good time for these players also to get exposure and an opportunity to compete at this level. So yeah, if the news broke that a player is injured, you think about who's possible the next one, and I can clearly say that the way the guys have slot in filling that positions, how. As I said previously, how the senior players assisted the guys coming in, I think we've adapted well, and we're looking forward to see how these young players can sort of make the step up and impose themselves on this position at this level.
Dion, just on the 20 players that have joined the Springbok camp over the last week or so, just talk to us about the level that they are at. How far is their level to the seasoned campaigners in the Springbok squad? How far are they from getting that opportunity and fitting into the Springbok setup? And just for Paul as well, how different has the level been in this week of training from what you're probably used to at the Storms?
I think the SA under-20s, the coaches at the SA under-20s and the whole system that they drive there is very good. I think when the players step in my opinion, yes, obviously there will be one or two things that we can improve on, but I think they arrived here in good shape with a good willingness to be coached and to learn from each other. I think there's fundamental their fundamentals is in place. Obviously, we do things here and there a bit differently, but they've adapted quite quickly, and I think this week is another opportunity for them to improve on last week, and I think they will be in a good position to do their job on Saturday.
Sorry, can I answer the question? No, for me, the question was the difference between Stormers and here. I think training standards is a massive thing, and you compete against the guys that's also Springboks and guys want to be here. So I think that just lifts the intensity of a normal training session to another level. And you would suppose that it is a senior environment, it is a national team, so the training standards and what they expect of us is probably a bit higher. But like I said earlier to your question as well, we're learning a lot, and I think we're sitting here and the coaches selected this squad because of what we did for our franchises and for our clubs back home. They would just expect us to do the same and even work harder.
Awesome. So we had an opportunity to hear from Dr. Rassie Erasmus recently, and he spoke of potentially players being rested. I did hear a name such as Damien Dielander being mentioned. So my question is, with regards to the Japan sort of league, we always, as an outside fan, you always understood that the first game is obviously the Japan-based players, guys who have been played in a while. When you hear, has there been sort of a change in the intensity, or is it maybe players that have played deep into playoffs in Japan that maybe have had more of a workload than they usually would have in a normal regular season?
I think Coach Rush was very clear in terms of the players that's going to be rested or players that are not available and the reasons for that. Obviously, the coaches or the medical staff and conditioning staff have assessed the players' workload over in their season in terms of their clubs and where they are. Last interview.
Coach Dion, you've been with this team for almost, I think, 10 years now. If you could just have a mention on working with and how excited you are with working with the next generation of players that are coming through now. You've got to work with the SA team. Some of them will probably be playing for the Springboks against the Barbarians. Just the thoughts on that. And then Paul, just on Kwagga is currently injured. How do you look at stepping up in that role, playing a similar role to Kwagga for the Boks the weekend, or should you get that opportunity?
Yeah, just for me, I mean, it always stays a massive privilege to be part of this team. I don't think it's something that you can take for granted, irrespective of how many years you are part of this. When you're part of a bigger picture, you represent your country. You got to stay humble. You got to focus on the role that you have to play in the squad to make things happen. And with that in mind, it just stays a privilege to have the opportunity to work with world-class players or a lot of talent coming in from different franchises, different backgrounds, the diverse group that we are, to coach them. So it's a privilege to coach them, but it's also a privilege to learn so much about different individuals and about the country, and also to learn from them in terms of, listen, what with the new generation coming in, how do they differ from the more experienced guys, and how can we ensure over the next couple of years, if given the opportunity, to ensure that we keep the consistency and that we keep getting better. So at this stage, it's just wonderful to have the privilege of working with the spectrum of so many talented players coming into the squad.
Yeah, if I get an opportunity this weekend, it will be awesome in either team. I think for now, my focus isn't on taking someone else's role. My focus is purely on, again, I'm sitting here because coaches saw what I did at our unions. As a squad, we're sitting here, we got selected on what we did for our teams back home. So the main focus for me will only be to keep on doing that, maybe just keep on working hard on that stuff that I do for the Stormers as well.
Paul, you speak about stuff that you did at your units. It was quite a season for you. Can you just talk us through just how you felt it was on a personal level, and before the season, did you have any ambitions to be sitting there wearing the green and gold?
I think we all have that ambition. At the start of the season, I think the main goal was just to be on the field more regularly, and as a team, we did pretty well. I've said it before, but playing in a good team and playing in a team that wins and go forward, it's easier for the individual to also do well. So yeah, I've learned a lot in this season. I'm very grateful for this past season with the Stormers, and because I believe because we did well as a team, it gave chance for the individuals to shine as well.
Thanks, Suzanne. This is not English question. Good morning. Good afternoon, colleagues. Can I ask you, Jim? I'm asking this obvious question. The absence of Bulls players in the squad, I'm sure that had an impact on selection. The players you've called up and that is coming in the squad. Are you guys excited about what the Bulls are going to do this weekend in Ireland? And maybe just an idea of why exactly Andre Smith was called up, because last week you had Ruben van Heaven as a replacement for Solomon Morat. Why was Andre also called up to the squad? And maybe just for you, you mentioned you're not so unclear on where and which side which team you're going to play. Does it matter to you? Are you excited to be part of this national side?
Good afternoon, Percy. Yes, just to come to your, I've missed the first section of your question.
Are you guys excited to see what the Bulls and the actions of Bulls players can have an impact on selection?
No, definitely. I mean, we're very excited that the Bulls have gone through to the final. Obviously, we would have wanted two South African teams in that final. Obviously, that was some things that we've, scenarios that we've looked at before it could happen, preparing for a team with both teams in the final, or the Stormers in or either the Bulls in, and making our plans in terms of players available and the selections that we need to do. So obviously that played a role. The reason for Adri's coming into the squad, I also want to say before I go there, just we wish the Bulls all the best, and I mean the whole team, irrespective of are behind him, and I think the whole South Africa is behind him, and we know they will make us proud going into that. The reason for Adri coming into the team is that if we look at the lock depth within the team, we know that Ruben is a player that has the ability to make good calls within the team. So with the absence of guys like Luit and all of those guys that are injured, he fulfilled a good role there. He showed that he can do it at the Stormers. Obviously, Adri is more of a four-lock that brings that grunt to the team in terms of his physicality and what he showed when he played for the Stormers, and also having him with Ruben, and then also a guy like Vincent Zachuka that have played there before available. They can make up, ensure that if we do get injuries or whatever happened in the game, we've got enough backing in that position to fulfill either the 4 or the 5 role within the team. And obviously we've done the same with the other locks, looking at lock combinations when you think about the guys that are available.
Yeah, Percy, super excited, whether it's playing against Barbarians or playing against Zimbabwe, just super excited to get on the field and hopefully do well in system and contribute. They motivate us to do our best. They create the platform for us to really express ourselves and play towards our talents. So yeah, hopefully just be on the field and give my best in system and contribute where I can.
Guys, Ross?
Thanks, Z. How's it, Manu? It's been quite a long journey, you know, for yourself and Vincent over the years, with your struggles in getting your residency, your SA passports and everything. And now, you know, Vincent made his debut last year. You guys are both in the mix again this year. How excited are you to be in the box system now and, you know, playing alongside your brother on Saturday in the A game?
Yeah, it's a massive honor and privilege for myself and my brother. I think, like you mentioned before, I think 18 months ago, yeah, we didn't even expect, or we didn't even think it's possible to be in this environment. So yeah, we're just super grateful, super excited to be in this environment and to rub shoulders with one of the best players in the world, or some of the best players in the world. And yeah, it's been, I think, like our families, our wives and everyone that's around us, our friends, is really excited and happy for us, and even more so us, be really so honored and privileged to be in this environment.
Thanks, Zina. How's it, Manu? Manu, how was the birthday in camp there? Sharing the birthday with to see your part. Also,
just how is his influence? You know, you play with him at the Sharks, but then also seeing him at the Springbok setup. You know, how is that?
Yeah, birthdays were good. I think the guys tried to. I was actually quite surprised. The guys really tried to make it somewhat special for me. Got a little cake in my room as well, so it's really nice. Lots of birthday wishes and messages from the teammates and the coaches. So yeah, that was really heartwarming and really got quite to my surprise, to be honest. And with regards to Sia, I mean, yeah, Sia is a legend of South African rugby. So you know, seeing him here in this environment, and I've just been trying to learn as much as I can. He's been, I think, I always make a joke with him. When he made his Springbok debut, I was in grade 6, and he's still going strong till this day. So I just try to learn as much as I can from him. He's obviously someone that's been in this environment for over a decade now. So yeah, any opportunity I just get to watch and see how he does things, and just, you know, get some fruits of wisdom or any advice from him as to what I can do to just, you know, continuously just try to get better and improve my game and my training sessions in this environment. I just take that opportunity whenever I can.
Rafil?
Hi, Z. Thanks, Manu. Manu, just in terms of your game, being in the Springbok environment, what areas do you think, you know, have really improved being in that environment around such players?
Sure. I think quite a bit, like a couple of different environments, I think, or aspects. I think for me, the one that stands out the most is my ability to, you know, just to set first and to just, you know, take initiative and to, like, yeah, just be the best that I can be in my role. I'd say that's something. I think that's something I would say I got better at. Also, I'd say my set piece and my ability to be effective around the breakdown is something that I think I've really worked on over the past, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks that I've been here.
Lita?
Hi, Manu. Seeing that Vince made his first start for the Springboks in a similar sort of game environment, has there been any advice from him just how to approach it and how to go about doing your thing on the field?
Yeah, I think he's trying to give me as much of advice as he can. I think not just for the games, but even for the training sessions and how to, you know, the standards to uphold and how to hold myself in training sessions. Yeah, he's really tried to prep me for that and give me as much advice as he can from his experience last year. But not just him. I've asked questions from quite a couple of different players, loose forwards, that have been in this environment for like quite a long time. And yeah, like I said, mentioned earlier, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can and just get as much information as I can from guys that have been in this environment for an extensive amount of time. And yeah, I think it's definitely helped and allowed me to feel more settled in the environment and more prepared for my training sessions as the days went on. Yeah.
Let's take the last question for Manu from Avile.
Thanks. Manu, you said something earlier on about a year ago, you didn't even think it was possible to be in that environment. Does you being in that environment now and, you know, obviously getting a chance with the SAA team, does it sort of give you the belief that after this, you know, you can still break into the BOK team and that, you know, it's possible to finally get into that BOK team at some point?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely believe with the right amount of hard work and dedication, it's definitely possible. But yeah, it's definitely a tough environment to say that you're going to be a Springbok. It's not something that's a guarantee. It's more so privileged than anything else. So I've just told myself, let me just work hard and try to bring the best of myself every day. And then the outcome will be the outcome. I'm not really trying to focus on whether or if I will be a Springbok or not. I just think I'm going to stay in the moment, trying to be present, take the opportunity that I have this weekend, and yeah, just take that forward and just see what happens and let the outcome be the outcome.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Manu.
zo, meneer, goed zo, meneer. Wat open dit is het wel. Wat open.
On point, right?
It's too high. It's too high. It's too high. It's too high. When I hate it later when I go through this. Het is nou al graag, dan ga ik gewoon mijn voet aan trekken. Let's just start. Start off. Hold.
and block assistant coach was one realistic. First 10 minutes, open for bloggers. After that, blocking it, and then it's just questions. So, yeah, please raise your hands for questions so we can get as many in as possible, and we can power away. Right?
How's it, Receipts? Okay. I see all a little bit of suspense as to your choice of 10. So,
I think Molly's played a lot of rugby on that side. We must see does Andre get through the game this weekend without an injury. And I think we've learned our lessons last year when we played the Barbarians, or it was Japan, and we got an injury to Oxen chair. And we really didn't have to play Oxen in that specific game because he was match fit and everything. And then Jan-Hendrik got suspended, and then eventually we had to go with Boan and Gerard, who did really well. So we're trying just to avoid that with Moni. And then also, obviously, we want to see Kian Horn, can he play 10-15? Hopefully in future that will help with 6-2 splits, and because we know he can play wing, play 15. And the guys, the other assistant coaches, all of us really see something special in him when it comes to 10. And then Vusi on the bench, I must say he's one of the guys that really caught the eye, I would say, in this 2 weeks. Very calm guy, physical, big kicks really without effort. So we think the two of them can do the job for us.
Right. Rusty, I think last year the speech didn't on for any penalty kicks against Barbarian. You guys would play some lineouts until Wesley kind of answering the bench. Who's that be kicking your conversion?
Cheslin.
Cheslin has been kicking for his club in Japan the whole season, and he's always a backup for us. So I think we're safe there.
Kian is also a good kicker.
Rusty, what is it that you see in Kwan's game profile that made you look at him and say, let's give you it?
Well, obviously Tony and Stock has big influence there. I think what he does for the Lions, maybe there's not a 10 on his back, but he certainly comes into the mix a lot at 10, at first receiver. And we've been working with him now for, 3 years at training sessions, and we just like the way he takes the ball to the line. He's an awesome defender. He's got a really great pass, and he's not bumped. He's not a guy that's all afraid for if somebody runs into that channel. And I think we're lucky with having guys like Sasha. I mean, Mani, people look at his size. He's an awesome defender. And then the same with Andre. So we'd like to keep it the same. Vusi is also a great defender. So, I think it is going to be a little bit new for him to start with on 10, but he does it a hell of a lot in his franchise. Not starting at 10, alternating through gender or play at 10.
But I see, it's Carter's first outing with you guys. How has he settled in since he joined?
Yeah, Carter, we actually forget that he's been at a lineman camp before. Sometimes you forget it's so long ago. No, I think what I can pick up from him is he's really grateful to be here. Or, he stated it before for a lineman camp, and he's certainly done really well at his club. It's not a lot of us that can say we've won Champions Cups. He's one of those guys who can say that. He's not an old guy. He's a guy who comes junior structures. He's played for us, and then at one stage he had a really bad injury. I think he was signing with somebody, and then there was a bit of a spell out. So I can see he's a desperate guy. Not desperate in the sense that if he doesn't make it, he's nowhere desperate to wear the jersey, which is quite important.
So the story going to weird cause in the Springbok lineup, but they say it with GSP will be and they'll be and that not as sliding.
Yeah, if you look at the covers that we've got, the Luan, also as a fullback, and more especially also with his Sevens background, and he's settling nicely there. Both of them at the Sharks, they've played a fullback, so I think when we look at the profile of the players, we thought, with having Luan at the back, I think it will probably, because once again, Rasi touched on it, is that 10s and 15, they act more like a playmaker role when it comes to our system, and then CI can also do that job and is a backup for it, but we thought at wing, when you look at the profiles of the players, I think, more especially with the way we play the game, if you remember, talk about our kicking game, we felt like having CI at wing would give us a bit of advantage in the sense of getting into that battle in the air. And Jaco Williams also on the other side, probably one of the players that I felt like, it's been coming for him, he's been knocking. Like we always say, size doesn't matter to us. And you saw the boy when he plays for the Sharks, he's got a big heart, a massive work rate. And then if you look at the profile of the players that we've got, I'm talking about Cheslin Kobe and Ketley Arends, and when you look at the profile of Jaco Williams, he's got a potential to become almost the same as those guys in the future, But once again, like Coach Rassi said, all three of those players at the back, I think they've got a bit of good X factor. But I think the most important thing for us is we want to see the foundation if they will be able to do things the way the Springboks will do. And then once again, without forgetting their X factor, we always appreciate it. We want them to bring it. But I think the biggest test for us in this game will be probably to operate as a Springbok team.
Coach, look, quite an interesting setup here as well. I mean, the Boks have had interesting setup plannings over the years. They were back up once. Where you was looking trying to see it from the 2A, obviously being the gift of the senior dude.
I'll be honest about it. Since Tony joined us in 2024, one of his first messages regarding to Lucanio's arm, he would probably love to see Lucanio at 12. So even Lucanio, when he was with us last year, he was always running at 12. So, but we couldn't get an opportunity for him to get there. Because if you remember, we had guys like Damien Allende, we had guys like Andre the Hybrid. So we couldn't get.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Forever Sports. My name is Connor Mitchley, and today we're going to be watching the South African A versus Zimbabwe game. As we're speaking, the Zimbabwean side have run out. It's time for national anthems. Looking quite good. Where's everybody watching from today? Excited to hear where you guys are watching from. Who is the guys that you're most excited to see? Who are some of those guys that you want to see play for the Springboks? Zimbabwe looking to get ready for some World Cup preparations with World Cup almost a year and a bit out. And who is excited? A lot of guys saying they're ready to see Siaya. What a guy, what a player. Stepped onto the scene really quickly lately and did some amazing things for that struggling Shark side at the end of the year. Look, a lot of guys from overseas. Guys, please be sure to like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out our members. Become a member, link down below in the chat. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. All the way from Dubai. Dubai's nice and far away. Hopefully a South African that's relocated that side. Can't wait to watch Battle. Me too, Koto, me too. That man is massive. We were actually talking about him previously, about how big he really is. He's going to be massive today for the Springboks. Massive signing for the Lions earlier this year. And ready to see him run out for this South African A side today. Looks like we got a lot of Zim supporters in the crowd today. Excited to see what you guys have to say. What are you guys' thoughts for Zim leading up to the World Cup? Luke, I see you're watching from the gym. Getting ready to make a side that side, or just training for a bit of fun? The Zim side's looking to make a bit of a change. Looking to become one of the powerhouses in Southern African rugby once again. Look, massive for them to qualify for the World Cup and to see them going from strength to strength. I mean, we've got the likes of Gary Porter playing for the province. These are some really talented guys, and just need to give them a chance and get them a bit going. The boys are singing the national anthem. There is Battle for you guys. He is an absolute unit. Big boy, ready to run around, and I think he's going to make a massive impact today. For me, definitely a player to watch. Definitely somebody to watch going out into the Springbok team. I think a future Springbok in the making relatively soon. The Sables will be your second team supporting at the World Cup. That's massive. That's awesome. Exciting to see you guys. I think a lot of Africans would love to see those guys doing really, really well. And so exciting to see what you guys have to say and what you guys are expecting to do with the Springbok with the South African A side rather, and to see what these Zim boys can bring today. The South Africans are looking really confident, really ready. I think it's the right kind of mix in terms of youth and experience with the likes of Lucanio, Pepsi Buthelezi, Boan Fenter. Some of these guys are already Springboks, Vincent Chatuka, and then the likes of Seposetu and Lekani and Vincent's younger brother. To see these guys all coming through, it's really, really, really exciting to see the youth. Yakin Ahmed, I think he's absolutely brilliant. And to see these guys coming through the ranks and hopefully start to play some URC rugby soon. And I don't think many of them are very far away from a Springbok call-up either. Yeah, guys, don't be scared to like and subscribe to the video. We're excited to hear from you guys, ready to see this game going. And almost time for kickoff. Guys, give us your score predictions. I see a lot of South Africa for the win. What do you think that South Africa are going to win by? The South African A side is a very young side, but very exciting side. I do predict a South African win by probably 25 to 30 points, and a lot of going. I think Vincent Chatuka will do well at lock? Look, we know he's a bit more of a loose forward than he is at lock, but he has a lot of experience playing at lock and ready to go. Oh, South Africa get the ball early off the kickoff. There's a man I think it's going to do really well for the Springboks in the near future. Young hooker, and that is Setu. But really, really, really good guy. Really, really exciting to see him going. Hashim Peed at the back for Yakin Ahmed. Another man who's really going to shine in a Springbok shirt one day. South Africa are not short of Springboks, of fly halves, but excited to get them going. Some big scores there. Thinking South Africa are going to win by a mile. I think it might be a little bit closer than that today. The Zim side are decent and they're growing and they're exciting to watch. Any of the Zim guys that you guys are excited to see, especially today and in the upcoming future? Marcus Miller is another one that a lot of people have been saying that they're excited to see. Very, very exciting talent. Recently finishing at school. And, oh, there we go. South Africa scoring in the corner. Should be 5-0 to the Springboks already. Yakin Ahmed needs to bring his kicking boots today. It's going to be quite a tough conversion from the corner. Edward Zigauke is a player to watch. Definitely someone who's exciting, really, really quick. Yeah, it's... Ooh, referee's reviewing this. Let's see what she has to say. Obviously going to double check. Great pass out in the wing. Great catch. Oh, that looks like he's just gone out. Unfortunately, Siaya has gone out on the wing there, and we are going to have a line out. But awesome attacking from South Africa, really close. Zim will need to defend a line out there. All right, massive lineup for Zim here on their own 5. Gonna need to do some work to get this out and clear nicely. Great take, great exit. Oh, good clean. Need a nice big exit here, get the boys out. Little bit off the side of the boot there, but not awful, just outside the Zim 22. Yeah, exciting to see what happens from here. South Africa on the attacking foot here. Looking forward to watching what they do, if they decide to go with the big power more, or if they decide that they are going to run the ball, let the boys play. Youngster Esetu with the line out. Oh, over the top, Zim win the ball. Knock on by Zim. Melvin from Vanderbilt Park, 35-7 box to win. SAA. Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on there. I think these boys do have a good chance of putting on a good performance, but I do think this is a better Zim team than a lot of people are giving them credit for. Big scrum here in the Zimbabwe half, but time to see what they can do. South Africa are known for their scrums, so let's see if these youngsters can do exactly what the Springboks do, or if Zim can manage to hold on. Gary Porter at number 5 for Zimbabwe, the Sables, and also for the province. So he knows exactly what to expect when it comes to a South African scrum. Hashim P to put the ball in. Nice solid scrum. Looking to get the ball out. Referee says use it. P to I'm chipping through. Cool, calm, and collected from the Zimbabwean Sables to make another massive exit. Another big territory win for Zim. So that was his first line out going over the top. Siposeto need to throwing it a bit deep. I think they need to get their lineouts working here, because it's going to be a big base to build off for these young guys in the Springbok or the South Africa A side. There we go, front ball, easy catch. Yakin Ahmed with a little chip through. Lukhanyo running onto it. He takes it through to Siaya. He's got the pace. He's beaten the man over the line. Don't know if this one's going to be chalked off. Looks a lot more exciting for South Africa A here. Moving forward, looking really, really good. Really, really good try. Good chip over by Yakin Ahmed. Great take by Lukhanyo and what a ball inside. Looks like these guys have come to play a bit, swing the ball around, get exciting and excited. Oh, referee's going to check this one again. Checking for offsides for the kicker. Let's see what happens here. Guys, don't forget, become a member down on below in the link. We'd really love to have as many members as possible. We're building up as many subscribers. Another try for Siaya ruled out. poor guy can't get a chance today. It's almost as though he's been ruled out from doing anything. Offsides for the kicker, Zim penalty on the halfway line. What will they do? Do they go for the points? Do they go for the corner? Really nice play. Lucanio, I'm just a little offsides on the kick. Big kick here from Bruce Houston into the corner. Will he make do with the possessions and have really big kick into the South Africa 22? Big turn of events here. Siaya scored 2 already, both chalked off due to mistakes made by the box or by the Spring SAA side. Looks like he's going to have a massive impact like he has for the Sharks towards the end of the season. I really thought he came on leaps and bounds, and seeing him in green and gold, although it is only the Springbok A side, is really exciting. I think he's definitely a name for the future, somebody that we can see going forward and making an impact for the box. For me, so far, definitely been one of the players to watch out of the first 6 minutes that we've seen this game. Merrick all the way from the UK. Thank you for that. Doing my bit here today to see what we can do in terms of streaming. Springboks with a massive tackle there. Yeah, guys, 211 on DSTV. If you're looking, that's where I'm currently watching the game. Good steal from the Springboks. Nakeen Ahmed, get us back up the field. Let's see what happens here. South Africa would love to see the South African A side get some reward for all the hard work. Manny Tutuka with a great steal to get the points. To get the Springbok A side some front football here. Another great line out. Looks like, as I was about to say, again, more. Lucanio seems to be the way forward for the Springboks. Going to use him as a bit of a battering ram here. Yakin Ahmed. Hashim Peed at the base of the ruck. Ready to get the ball out. Through to Yakin Ahmed. Vincent Chichuka. There's the guy that we thought was going to struggle a little bit at lock. Or that the question around was, can he play lock? He looks like he's doing quite all right for me. He's a talented rugby player and really, really stepped up over the last couple of years. I thought he's been quite incredible. Lucanio, massive hit by Zimbabwe on Lucanio there. Hashim Peed at the base of the rack again. Quick inside ball. There we go. Vincent Chituka holds onto the ball. Offloads to Bone Fenter. Bone Fenter knocks the ball on. Think that there was a pass out wide there to his brother. Would have been really cool to assist your brother on his SAA debut, but decided to hold on to the ball instead from the Springbok A captain today. Great tackle, last line of defense by Tapiwa Mafura there. Really, really good tackle on a man much, much bigger than him. So exciting stuff here from the Springboks, or the SAA side, and great defense from the Zimbabwe Sables. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe this video, please. Forever Sports, we'd love to grow bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. So giving us a like and a subscribe would go a long way in helping us achieve those goals. Watching all the way from Australia, a lot of guys watching from overseas. Seems like a lot of expats excited to see this young South African A side playing against Zimbabwe. Really exciting 10 minutes. Let me know who's excited you the most for the first 10 minutes. I really think Siyaya's had a great game. And I think Vincent Chituka has been really good at lock. I know there was a question about whether or not he would be a decent lock considering he's a loose forward. But I really think that he's done some magical things. Big scrum here for Zimbabwe just outside their 5 meter. Need to get the ball out clean and get a big exit here to take some of the pressure off. I think they've been really good at clearing the ball in from Hilton Madura. Oh, massive scrum by the Springboks. Out at the back by Pepsi Buthelezi, winning the scrum against the hit. Penalty to the Springboks on the 5 meter line for not releasing. Massive scrum for South Africa there. Exciting stuff. Looking to kick out, showing the intent early on that they're here to play. They're not happy just getting 3 points while they're going down into the corner. Really big scrum from the South Africans there. Time to get a line out. If the line out can get going, let's see what we can get going here. Hopefully some front football, maybe a big maul or a big move off the back. Oh, Ruben van Heerden's knocked it on in the line out. South Africa are looking like they're struggling a bit to get their line outs going. Massive win in the lineouts from the Zimbabwean Sables. Massive clearance. Well cleared. Just outside the 22. Really well hold on by the South African. Luke, I agreed. 3rd time lucky. Come on, Siyaya. Poor guy's had 2 tries chalked off already. Looking like we are struggling to get him over the line clean and safe without any infringements. But I agree. Hopefully the 3rd one is the charm. 3rd time's a charm. Guys, the lineup from the Springbok side is really struggling today. That's the 3rd lineout today that the Springboks have not won the ball on their own lineout. Really giving the Zimbabweans an easy chance to clear here. Zimbabweans doing a lot of work to get the ball out and to be exiting when South Africa are on the front foot. Massive kick by Hilton Madariki. Put it up in the air for their wingers to go and chase. Big carry from Ruben van Heerden. Hashim P cleans up nicely out the rack for Yakin Ahmed, who holds onto the ball. Bone Fenter, who loves to see a big man run. I love seeing it when a front rower gets the ball in a little bit of space. Nothing like seeing a front rower express his legs. Penalty to South Africa. Thanks, Manley. I appreciate you saying you can hear me properly. Glad to hear that we're going all right. Vincent Chituka, confident in the scrum or maybe not so confident in the line out. 2nd scrum of the game was massive from the Springboks when on a Zimbabwe ball to win the penalty. However, the South Africans are struggling to get the ball to a jumper in the line out. Big call from Vincent, maybe trying to win a penalty and more for some from infringements on the Zimbabwean side. Zimbabwean fan from Sweden, Raymond. That's really cool. Look, I don't think that the Zimbabwean side have anything to be disappointed of just yet. They've really defended nicely, and I think they are capitalizing on some South African mistakes. So, yeah, I think they can be proud of their first 15 minutes here. To be 0-0 at the end of the half, or at the end of the first 15 minutes, rather, is massive from them. Out at the back by Yakim Pede. Siyaya gets the ball again around the outside. Oh, Siyaya. Great tackle, great defense. This man just seems as though he cannot score a try today, no matter how hard he tries. Correct, James. That's something Tony Brown's been talking about quite a bit, is Lucanio at 12. It's the South African side sometimes have been crying for a 12. It looks like Damien de Linda and Andre Esterhuizing filling that hole quite nicely. However, options are always part of what we're looking for, and I don't think Lucanio with all the experience he has and how incredible he's been for the Springboks throughout the years is something that we have to worry about. So getting him a run at 12 is always really cool. Another exit by the Zimbabwean side. The Zimbabwean side are holding on quite nicely here, keeping the Springboks at bay. Springboks are getting, well, the South African A side at bay. South African A side are getting some front foot. They are getting close, but close does not mean points today. Another line out for the South African side. Finally, it seems to have worked. Managed to hit the jumper. Hashim P to Lucanio Lucanio breaking the line. However, another knock on by the South African side. South African side riddled a little bit with mistakes at the moment. Really struggling to get some front foot ball and momentum with, there goes Siaya on the counter. Siaya holds onto the ball. Great attacking run by Siaya. Hashim Peed out to Lucanio on the wing. Lucanio steps infield. Great tackle by the Zimbabweans. Out the back for Yakin Ahmed. Yakin Ahmed to Batok Lekani. Big man, hard to bring down. Great tackle. Yakin Ahmed breaks through. Yakin Ahmed under the poles. Great try by the young South African. South Africa, finally get it onto the board. 5-0 to the boys. Been a long time coming, but mistakes have just cost the South Africans. Great run by Batok Lekani. And great dummy by Yakin Ahmed to break through. Steps the last defender and dives under the poles, making the conversion nice and easy. Great effort from the boys. Great try. Yakin Ahmed to convert his own try. 5-0 to the South African A side. After 17 and a half minutes, make that 7-0. He puts it through. Nice and easy conversion for the South African A side. Fly half. Great dummy on the inside. Sold the defender down the river. A bit of a mismatch in terms of the fly half running at two front row forwards. So exciting stuff. Nice to see Yakin Ahmed get a game here. Really, really exciting fly half for the future. 7-0 to the Springbok A side, or South African A side. Great take by the South African A side. Look to clear here through Hashim Peed's boot. Nice and deep. Kicking it up for Yaku Williams. Yaku Williams causes a bit of disruption in the air, and it's South African A side have the ball. Batok Lekani bashing it up like he always does. Absolute unit of a man. Lucanio to market to Luan Gilomi. Safely secures the ball, but only just the Zim guys got there quick. Lucanio getting quite involved today. Seems to be a lot of the players are running through him at 12. Exciting to see. He's definitely a talented rugby player. Siaya out, or great tackle by the Zimbabweans, but kept the ball in, managed to win the ball through the ball being thrown in by Siaya. Zimbabwe have the advantage for the forward pass / knock on. They'll look to exit again here. Great take by Siaya. They'll look to go infield. Hashim Peed, advances to the Springboks, not rolling. Who is that from the Zimbabwean side? Can't see who it is. Tugilomi, great crossfield kick, intercepted by the Zimbabwean side. Advantage over, says the referee. Play on. Zimbabwe moving forward quickly here. Looking for a scrum off, crying for a scrum off. Always the front rower who reckons they can be a scrum off. Knock on, big hit by Siaya. Marcus Miller picks up the loose ball and looks like he's going to run under the poles and make it easy for Yakin Ahmed. 12-0 to the South African A side. Absolutely massive hit by Siaya to allow Marcus Miller to run onto the scraps and get his first try in green and gold for the South African A side. Absolutely battered by Siaya. Massive hit. And easy one for Marcus Miller to run onto and put it under the poles. 12-0 to the Springboks in 21 minutes. Exciting moving forward here. South Africa look to be running away from it a bit. Malibongwe Malinga completely agrees. Siaya over Kurtley Arendse. I don't know just yet, but he's definitely got a bright future with the Springboks. Also, we all know how the Springboks love a winger in a scrum cap, but it's exciting to see, knowing that he can play wing, fullback, fly half. There's a lot that this young man can do, and really, really exciting talent for South Africa moving forward. I think Siaya will do some massive, massive things for the Springboks. And really, really exciting to see what he can do. 14-0 to the Springboks, almost 22 minutes into the game. Zimbabwe did really well to hold on for the first couple of minutes, but now the mistakes starting to shine through. Bruce Houston with a big kick onto the 22. Great take from Ruben van Heerden in the air. Brought it down nicely. Like Hashim Peed looking for a bit of security. Probably going to go up with the boot here. Great exit just outside the halfway line. Massive from the South African A scrum off. Lions player been really, really, really good. Stadium is really empty today. Quite shocking, actually. But hopefully it fills up for the Springbok game later. We know how the South Africans love to support their players and their teams. Look at that. South African really struggling in the lineouts today. 3 lineouts won, but 3 lineouts lost out of their 6, where Zimbabwe have a 100% record of 3 out of 3 lineouts. Great take by the scrum off at the back of the line. Zimbabwe looking to play a bit here. Springboks, the South African A side, looking to get over the ball. Bruce Houston holds on to it a little bit long, gets absolutely nailed. South Africa looking to get over the ball here. Big exit coming from Zimbabwe again. They did a lot of this exiting in the first half. Massive, 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 massive exits from Hilton Madareke, this Zimbabwean captain. But great from Luangulomi through to Siaya. Marcus Miller on the inside. Lots and lots of ground game there by the South African A side. There goes Bonfenta. Tuba Tuklekani absolutely sits the Zimbabwean down. The bus is full. Unfortunately, knocks it on the 5-meter line. South Africa really struggling once they get inside the Zimbabwean 22. Looking really, really good. Getting up until that. Once we get inside that 22. A lot of the game being played in the Zimbabwean 22, but also a lot of a lot of mistakes being made in that Zimbabwean 20 team. Exciting stuff on the South African A side. They look really, really good. The youngsters are really, really putting their hands up and showing Rassie Erasmus what they can do leading up to some really, really big games for the Springboks in the August Autumn Internationals. In the internationals coming up next month. A lot of these guys will want to put their hands up and show Rassie that even though they are young, they can be counted on and selected. 25 minutes in here, guys. Let us know who has been some of the standout players for you guys. Who has put their hand up and shown Rassie Erasmus that they deserve a chance, or even just a look, maybe even being a part of the squad moving forward. We know that a lot of the Bulls players are coming back into the Springbok side, and so a lot of these guys may drop out of the Springbok side moving forward. But who do you think has put their hand up and shown Rassie why they deserve a spot? Massive scrum for Zim here, on just outside their own 5-meter line. Big, big, big exit. Nothing new, I agree. Where are the people? Where are the South Africans? Looks like the stadiums are relatively full. Supersetu standing up there, not so comfortable going forward in that scrum. Last time South Africa had a scrum on the Zim 6-meter line, and it was a Zim Bulls. South Africa absolutely demolished them. So exciting stuff happening. Really, really, really cool to see these Springbok forwards. And to think this is only the South African A side. There's a lot of youth here and a lot of guys coming through the system. Really, really exciting stuff. Massive scrum. Oh, early shot from the Springboks there. Free kick to Zim. Unfortunately, the Springboks making another mistake, allowing Zim an easy exit. Really, really something that we need to cut out here. Zim had been able to exit far too many times because of mistakes made by the Springbok or the South African A side, and costing him some valuable points. Decent exit there by Bruce Houston. 14-0 to the South African A side. Really, really 26 minutes in. Exciting game to watch, but a game riddled with mistakes at the moment. A lot of young guys on the side, so maybe that's a reason why. Completely agree with you, Luke. Yaya has made a massive mark on this game. He's been really, really exciting to see. Hashim Peed as well. Really, really exciting young nine. Lot of talent. Ruben van Heerden running at those Zimbabweans like a truck. Advantage to the Springboks, the South African A side. Or knock on at the base of the ruck by Hashim Peed. But however, knock on advantage. Get to see this South African A side scrum again. They are a side that definitely can scrum and win penalties from scrums. So exciting to see what comes of it here. A lot of handling errors by the South African A side. 6 handling errors already, and we're only 27 minutes into the game. Something that we need to look at. Something that needs to change. And I'm sure the coaching staff will have a word about that at halftime. Yeah, definitely, JP. No Bulls players and amounts of injuries in the squad. Plenty of depth on show today. Couldn't agree more. This South African A side is the epitome of depth. The fact that we have the likes of Lucanio playing in a South African A side is testament to how far this squad can go. Lots and lots and lots of exciting youngsters, as well as experienced old heads in the squad. I think that this SAA side has something to show and something to prove. Definitely one to watch for the future. Inside ball knocked on by the South African A side. Again, another handling error. Looking really, really tough today with the ball in hand. Mudley, I agree. I think Marcus is definitely somebody we should watch out in the future, watch for in the future. Definitely somebody we can expect to make really, really, really big waves in the green and gold shirt in the future. Still really young and really, really exciting to see what he can do. And definitely somebody that I would be excited to see moving forward. Another scrum for the Zimbabwe side, just outside of the 22. Another chance for them to clear. A lot of mistakes in this game. Zimbabwe feed into the scrum here. Looking to clear again. Massive hit from the Springboks. Ball going backwards, outside. Zim have the ball on the wing. Great tackle by Lucanio. Zim are going to look to clear here again. Get the ball out. Big pass to Bruce. Definitely change. Oh, sneaky little chip, but well cleared up by Hashim Peed to Marcus Miller out on the wing. Running hard, trying to break the line of defense. Bato Klekani bashing through, getting over that advantage line. Breaking into the Zimbabwe 22. Ruben van Heerden collects the ball. Hashim Peed to Pepsi Buthelezi, running hard, running fast, and running straight. Hashim Peed to Sipho Setu. Getting over the ball, South Africa just in the Zimbabwean 5-meter line. Another drop ball, luckily backwards. Pepsi Buthelezi to clean up on Ruben van Heerden's mistake. Advantage to the South African A side. Hashim Peed breaks the line. Hashim Peed over the line. Hashim Peed with a great performance so far. And another try just to cap off how good this performance really has been from him. 19-0 to South African A after 31 minutes. Really, really well done from Hashim Peed. Another show and go to break the line, get over this try line, and score South Africa A's third try of the game. Another mismatch with a front rower trying to make a tackle on a backline player, and Hashim Peed takes advantage of that. 3 easy conversions for Yakin Ahmed here. Really, really making his job easy, both by himself, Hashim Peed and Marcus Miller, the 3 try scorers for the South African A side today. Puts it over 21-0 to the South African A side. This Zimbabwe side are looking for some answers. Could definitely be a lot more in terms of points for the South African A side. Just a lot of mistakes and handling errors, making it a lot more difficult for them to get points on the board. However, it is 21-0 to the South African A side. Excited to see what's going. Zimbabwe already making a change with Kumberiari coming on at the tight head position. Not sure if that's from an injury or to bolster the scrum. South Africa's scrum looks really, really strong today. Bruce Houston to get us going again here. Look to kick deep and make the South Africans exit from deep. Great take by Pepsi Buthelezi. Really well secured. Penalty in the South African 22 for Zimbabwe. Obstruction. Ruben van Heerden obstructing a Zimbabwean player as he's coming through to make a tackle. Zim will look to take advantage of this possession they have here. Guys, like and subscribe, become a member. We're excited to hear from you guys, excited to see what you guys' thoughts on the game are. Bruce puts it in the corner for Zim to have an attacking line out here. Definitely obstruction. Ruben van Heerden getting in the way of the tackler. And yeah, exciting to see what goes from here. Massive, massive line out for Zimbabwe on the South African 5-meter line here. Time to get the ball in. Oh, knock on at the back of the line out for Zimbabwe, unfortunately not being able to take advantage of this incredible position and the field position they've got. Massive exit kick from Hashim Peed. However, the ball does not go out. Zim will look to run it here. Really, really exciting for the Zimbabwe side. Looking to get forward. Lucanio, I'm looking to get over the ball. Zim with the ball out the back. Oh, could be obstruction there. Definitely will have a look at that again, referee. Zim on the South African 10-meter line. Looking to get forward. Big ball out the back. Great tackle by Sipusetu Ndebele. He is one for the future, ladies and gentlemen. A great hooker. Really, really somebody I think that we need to keep an eye out for. Zim with the ball on the wing. Going great. Get past Hashim Peed. Zim on the inside. Great run from the Zimbabwean side here. Not too sure who that was. Didn't see who it was. Advantage to the Zimbabwean inside the South African 22. Really looking to make do with what massive crossfield kick. Great take by the Zimbabwean on the 22. Another pass on the outside. Zim running around, holding on to the ball. Great tackle there by Vincent Tutuka. However, they will go back. Time is called. They will go back for a Zimbabwe penalty within the 2020 in the South African A side 22. Oh, Siyaya's down here. Really could be something serious for the South African winger. Big match for Ruben van Heerden down in the locked up depth. He's a player I've always liked and thought weird to be overlooked by the Bok coaches. Look, I also think he's a great rugby player. However, in the lock department, even when we are down on players, we have a hell of a lot of players that can play lock. Siyaya looking to go off the field, maybe really hurt you. Not looking good. Poor guy's had a great game. 2 tries chalked off. And now looks to have done himself a mischief. South Africa would really, really love to see him playing in the green and gold of the Springbok side. Oh, looks like he could be majorly concussed, taking a knee to the face, really unintentionally by his own teammate. Definitely something that they would need to check for an HIA, but not looking good for the young South African. Really, really hope he recovers nicely, and really hope that this is something that he can get through. Jorenzo Julius on from the bench, another man who's made some real big waves for South Africa in the past, being in the young South Africa side, in the junior box side, and looking to make his way into Rassi's Springbok side. Another guy that I'm really excited to see playing for South Africa. A really, really talented centre, but can also play on the wing. Exciting times, exciting stuff. Looking to see what he can do. Oh, Zimbabwean line out on the 5-meter line. And unfortunate dummy throw from the hooker to award the South Africans a free kick. Can't be doing that. The Zimbabweans have had a really, really, really good field position in this game and really not taking advantage of it. However, Yakin Ahmed with a clearance just halfway between the halfway line and the 22. Unfortunate error by the Zimbabwean hooker to cost his side a little bit. However, another chance for him to make up for it here with another Zimbabwe line out just outside the South African 22. gets the ball down. The Zimbabweans look to maul and decide against it. We're wavered pass. However, the Zimbabweans running onto the ball, looking to make some traction here. Pepsi Buthelezi picking the ball up after a little bit of a drop from the Zimbabwean side, running onto the ball hard and fast. Vincent Satuka taking the ball up, getting absolutely nailed in that tackle. Hashim Peed need to get the ball out. Penalty, tackling the scrum half. Can't be doing that. Unfortunately, putting some pressure on the Zimbabwe side and making a bit of a mistake. Akin Ahmed to clear on the South African 10 side. Massive exit from Akin Ahmed, putting the boys back down in Zimbabwe territory. Hopefully can get the lineouts working again. Would be excited to see if South Africa have managed to sort out their lineouts. Been a while since the last South African lineout, but early on in the game really struggled to get them working. I don't know if that's just due to the amount of time that the South African A side have had, or purely by the pressure that the Zimbabwe side have put on. Short to Bone Fenter, back to Siposetu, infield. Bone Fenter knocks the ball on, giving the Zimbabwean side a chance to clear, carried back by the Zimbabwean side. Springbok scrum on the 5-meter line. Lots of pressure. Trick play from the South Africans at the line out. Hooker to the prop back to the hooker and let the boy run. Give him the wheels, coach. Give him a chance. Every hooker we all know was an outside centre that just got a little bit big. Really good run from the Springbok South African A hooker there. Tried to get the ball back in. Luckily knocked backwards by the Zimbabwe side. Zimbabwe under big pressure here with a minute to go in the first half. Exciting rugby here. 21-0. Penalty to the Zimbabwe side. Time to get a clearance. High tackle. Zim with a big exit here. Nice exit to get them out of their own 22. He did not have to make that pass, correct? But also youngsters need time to grow, and it's exciting to see youngsters in the South African A side get a chance to have a run with the ball, see what they can do. I think he's a great hooker for the future. And once he gets a little older, definitely somebody to watch. The one of two Cares boys on show today, between him and Vusi Moyo for the Springbok side against Barbarians later today. Really exciting to see that this youth is coming through. It's also testament to the South African schooling and rugby system. Bruce Houston to kick it out. Oh no, kick it up on the stroke of hard time. Luan Gilome, great take from the young South African. The boogeyman has the ball, been tackled out, and an end to the first half from a South African A side versus Zimbabwe. 21-0. Guys, it's been an exciting first half. I'm going to take a bit of a break now, and we'll catch you for the second half.
Also, Andre, it really just seems like a couple of months ago that the green and gold was in action again. How excited are you guys to get this weekend underway, which essentially marks the start of the 2026 campaign for the Springboks?
Yeah, it feels like we just finished the other day, but like I said, very excited for the season to begin and hopefully start it off on high. I think everyone is very excited to be in the squad environment, training hard, and everything's been going good.
Nicholas?
Thanks. This is for Luan. It's been quite a year for you, coming from the junior Springboks, the under sevens, the Sharks senior team, and now SAA. I mean, how do you keep your head above water after all of that? And maybe what are some of your personal goals for Saturday?
Yeah, I've been privileged enough to be in a lot of environments this year. Thankfully, I'm still healthy and I can play in this Saturday's game. And yeah, I think as a team, we have some standards we set for ourselves, and obviously I have some goals in mind. But it's just to perform and to showcase the things I've learned in the past 2 weeks, learning from all the guys and the coaches. So yeah.
Lita?
Thank you, Z. Hi, Andre. Hi, Luan. Andre, for you, please, just some targets that the Springboks have set for themselves this weekend. Quite a gevestigde core of the side is playing. So what are those goals that you set and the targets?
I think we just want to go out and play our game. I know it's a Barbarians game that everyone looks at and think it can be loose. And they might, or they want to try and make it loose, but we're just going to stick to our processes as we do in every other game. For us, it's a normal test, and that's how we're going to handle it and go into the game with that. And obviously, hope to be successful in that way.
Okay.
Peter, hi, Luan. Congratulations. Hi, Andre. Andre, just for you, looking at the bench, it looks like you and Jesse are set for 80 minutes each. Who's the centre cover? Is Vusi Moya? He's from the Sharks with you. Is he going to cover centre?
Yeah, I think there's more than enough cover in the squad. We know a lot of players can play different positions. And everyone at the moment knows who's going where, and what if something happens, who's going to what position. So everything is sorted, and everyone knows exactly what to do. But yes, everything's covered on our side.
Steven?
Thanks, C. Andre, if I don't know if I'm maybe remember correctly, but last year against the Barbarians, was that the beginning of your hybrid life? And then Kewan, this weekend, just what your thoughts are, or what your advice would be to him, and then just your thoughts on him, potential as a 10.
Yeah, I think we can all agree he's a very good player with a lot of skill and a good reading of the game. I think he slotted into the 10 position very good, especially in training. He's been working hard, learning on the go as well. But yeah, I think with support inside and outside him, players who can help him and guide him, I think he will be very good in that position. And yeah, it's a great option to have as a utility back.
Thanks. Hi, Andre. Hi, Luan. Luan, for you, you've obviously been sort of dubbed as, you know, the next rising star and all of those stuff. How do you sort of block the noise and sort of focus on what you need to do as a youngster coming through?
I think for me, it's just focusing on my process, focusing on things that I have to do to get better. Obviously, the media and outside noise is always going to be there, and it's going to be there for the next stars coming up. And I think it's just to focus on yourself, have the right system around you, especially in this system. I can ask for help for anybody in this position, and the coaches and the players are so helpful. So I think it's just to focus on what you're doing, what your process is, and yeah, at the end of the day, just try to shut out the noise.
Lita?
Andre, just back at you. We know at the start of the year, Rassie and the other coaches like to put you through what has been described as very rigorous training in terms of fitness. Just how was it this time around? And then do you feel you guys who haven't played maybe in a URC quarterfinal or Premiership or top 14, whatever it may be, do you guys feel that you are at that level fitness-wise that you can put up a full 80 on Saturday?
Yeah, I think coming into Springbok camp, you always know it's going to be tough. If you want to play at the highest level, you need to train at the highest level. So before we had our lineman camps, and everyone knew what the targets were and what the requirements is to come into the squad and to perform here at fitness levels. And yeah, I think the guys who hasn't played, the guys who has played, I think most of us are on the same level, and the fitness levels are good. And everyone has been working hard the last 2 weeks, like we've said, but that's what's required.
Ross?
Thanks, Steve. How's it, guys? Andre, a lot has been said, obviously, about your hybrid role over the last year. And, we've seen other players around the world now starting to get into it, like Lester Fainganaku down in New Zealand with a lot of success. Has Rassie and the other coaches earmarked a few other players to transition into that type of role this season, and that you'll be helping mentor, in getting up to speed on that?
I think we sit with a squad here who has so many utility players anyway. So yes, there is players training obviously in different positions, like you've seen Kieran moving to 10. But yeah, it's not something we put all our focus on. It's something that's it's obviously an extra and nice to have, but it's not something that we're going out to develop, or if I could say it in that way.
Luan, you also quite a versatile player. I think JP once said you can also play 9 and 10. Is that the versatility you want to bring to this SAA side for the weekend? And then how is your experience with sevens sort of helped you in the 15s game, you would say?
Yes, I play many positions actually. I've jogged onto the field for the junior box as a 9 as well. Against Ireland last year, and as well as 10 previous, in the last year's end. So yeah, I have some other positions I can cover, but I think I can bring that versatility in terms of when I'm on the bench or when I'm playing. But yeah, at the end of the day, I must focus on the role I've given, like this weekend on 15. So yeah, I can cover a few positions, but just to focus on the position I'm given. And then on the sevens, I think it developed my game in many aspects, maybe more skillful, like defense, like tracking, things like that. And then it carries over so well to 15 man, and I got the opportunity to be able to express those skills that I've gotten at the sevens in 15 man, and yeah, it's helped me so much.
Ross?
Andre, I think this year has been, the most amount of youngsters in the Springbok training group, ahead of the start of the season. How was that experience for you? And are you really excited, for the future of SA Rugby, seeing these youngsters in action? And also, do you think it's a good thing to get them involved so early and get them mixing with some of the older and more experienced players, ahead of a big season?
I think it's been really exciting to have all the youngsters in. I think they just bring a different kind of energy and a bit of edge. And it's obviously great for them to learn and come through. I mean, as older guys, we can also learn stuff from them, because there's some really exciting talent coming through, and they all need a platform like this to go from. So yeah, it's been really exciting. I think it's a great bunch of guys, all level-headed with their feet on the ground, and everyone's just been head down working hard. And like we said, there's not really seniors or juniors. It's when you come into the squad, it's one squad, and everyone's on the same level.
Stephen?
Thank you, Z. Luan, just what are your expectations from Zimbabwe? Has it been very much a general prep for you guys, because you don't really know the opposition? But just from that perspective, what do you guys anticipate from Zimbabwe?
We've said in the beginning of last week, we're taking them as a serious threat. Obviously, they have going to the World Cup, and their prep has been good, and they obviously strive to become a good rugby nation. And in saying that, we don't have a lot of footage, so we tend to focus on ourselves. We want to develop the things we want to do on the field, and we have a plan, and we want to stick to that plan. So in a way, it was more focused on ourselves and what we want to accomplish. And yeah, it's basically the message for Saturday.
Avile? Avile? Okay. Are there any more questions for them, guys? Yes, Lieten, jy kan in Afrikaans gaan.
Baie dankie, Zee. Luan, net vir jou asseblief, hoe maklik of hoe moeilik was dit om jou verwagtinge in toom te hou toe jy vir die eerste keer daar in die oefenkamp inkom en die bal begin vat met manne wat jy kan sien as wat jou helde was 3-4 jaar terug?
Ag ja, is 'n wonderlike ervaring. Ek dink die eerste keer toe die boodskap kry dat ek op gaan kom is eintlik maar so amper droom wat begin waar word, maar nee, ag vir my was dit soos hulle vir ons aan die begin van die kamp opgesê ons moet alles inneem soveel as wat ons kan. Ons moet spons wees en ek het probeer dit doen in die afgelope ek sê 'n week en 'n half en ja, daar's ouens wat ek nou opgekyk het 'n paar jaar terug en nou moet jy maar net vra en flip en net vra hoe hulle ervaring was en hoe dit was en net advies vra. So nee, dat is eintlik maar crazy as jy aan dink dat die nou langs hulle staan en langs hulle speel. So nee, ek probeer net alles invat soveel as ek kan.
En is daar familie wat gaan reis met jou?
Ja, hulle behoort my te kom kyk, ja.
Avile?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that. Luan, you've played with some guys in that back line before. I think you played with Marcus in the SA school side as well. Does that familiarity sort of help you ahead of this game this weekend?
Yeah, I think a lot about in the back line it helps you a lot is the connection and obviously when coming into the camp you don't always know the guy playing next to you, but in the last week and a half we've been really being acted on to build that connection and obviously the guys that I do know well, it helps to play with them and it just helps to build that connection even further and obviously guys you don't know well we've built that trust and that connection in a week and a half, so I believe it's going to be a thing that we find as a strength on Saturday.
Ken?
Thanks, Sina. Andre, just on the Baba centre pairing, Alex Nankivell is obviously someone you know well from URC playing for Munster. I'm not sure how well you know Vakatawa though. What do you make of their midfield pairing?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a powerhouse centre pairing. Nankivell is a very strong abrasive runner, good offload skills and good distribution. So it's going to be a good battle in the centres. And I mean, we've all seen Vakatawa play for France. He's a very experienced centre. He's been around, and also, like I said, strong ball carrier. So yeah, I'm excited for the challenge. It's going to be a good one, and yeah, can't wait for this weekend.
Guys, let's take one last question for them because Carlo and Emmanuel are here. So, Ross?
Luan, as Avuyile mentioned there, you know a lot of the guys in that back line that you're playing with, which is very exciting and helps with your synergy. And, you'll probably be lining up alongside most of them at the World Champs. But how exciting is it for sort of all of you to...
Guys, we're back here for the second half. Zim going to kick off. What were your thoughts on the first half? What did you think of the South African A side? Anybody that you think really deserves a chance with Rassie in the games coming up? And let me know who to look out for in the second half. Who you think is really going to make a big effort in changing the game. South Africa already making early changes. Hashim peed off and Nico Steyn onto the field at scrum half. Big kick from Nico Steyn. Massive hit from Yaku Williams. Great chase. But Zim managed to get the ball out and running again. Zim struggling to get the ball out on the halfway line. We've got Great run, great tackle by the South African A side here. Hilton Mudariki about to put another up and under. Seems that the Zimbabwean side have decided to kick today. Great take from Luan Gilomi. Great work done by him in the air. Another youngster who was at the Sharks, on his way to the Bulls now, but exciting talent. Marcus Miller with the ball inside to Nico Steyn, knocked backwards for the South African A side. Still have the ball on the halfway line. Bowen Fenter to Nyetlin for sheer. Through the legs by Vincent Chituka. Lucanio to Luan. Big ball on the outside to Yaku Williams on the wing. Looking to use his speed with a big chip and chase. Great job collecting by Bruce Houston in the Zimbabwean side, covering up there at the back line. Guys, any score predictions for the second half? Let me know. Do we think Zimbabwe are going to score a try? Any big, bold predictions? Let me know as well. As Hilton Madariki getting the ball out, clearing it up and just outside the Zimbabwean 22. Looking forward to hearing from you guys as we move forward with the South African A Zimbabwe game. And excited to hear your thoughts. Any revised score predictions after some massive calls in the first half? Some guys saying South Africa to win 80-0, where only 21 points scored in the first half by a really messy South Africa. And lineouts that really weren't working. Lineout from the South African really seems to work a lot better in the second half. Going forward, running onto the ball. Nico Steyn with a big ball out to Lucanio. Another chip through from Lucanio. Great defense by Zimbabwe, winning the ball, closing down on the kick. Massive work here done by the Zimbabwe Sables to get the ball. Big clearance needed from the Zimbabwe side. Bashing it up, getting into better field position so that Hilton can clear it out from the base of the ruck with another box kick. Big big up and under, really testy. Luan Gilomi running onto the ball and securing it for the Springbok side. Yaku Williams down the wing, ball inside, great tackle by the Zimbabwean side to keep him, to get him out of play. Zimbabwe a line out. Yaku Williams looking a little bit beaten and bruised on the wing there. Great defense by the Zimbabwean side to get them going. Great take by Luan, the South African fullback, almost knocks it on, manages to get his hands back on the ball there and keep going. Big call from you there, Romeo. 38-0 to South Africa in the second half. 30-0. Guys are expecting big results from the Springboks. Or the South African A side. And excited to see what they can do. I do believe that with the pressure Zimbabwe had in the first half on the South African A side, that they could definitely get a try or even two in the second half. A lot of pressure put on the South African A side, and exciting stuff to see how it works. Just some precautionary tests done for Yaku Williams. Looked like he's okay to keep going. Nothing too dangerous after a little bit of a head knock. However, it was very legal. Back all the way onto the half, just outside the halfway line. Luan actually knocking the ball on, the referee says. Zimbabwe scrum in their own half on the 10-meter line. And they may exit with the up and under here. That seems to be the way they're going. Raymond, 32-17. Big effort from the Zimbabweans needed in the second half for that scoreline to be achieved. Definitely do think that they have what it takes to put something on the board. Big scrum by the Springboks. Advantage, arm out from the referee. Through to Brandon. Chip through, turning the Springboks around. However, taken back, all the way back for the Zimbabwean advantage, the penalty advantage for the scrum. Excited to hear who you guys think player-wise is going to make a massive impact in the second half. Guys, also don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, please, there's a link to become a member. We're looking for as many members as we possibly can get, and would be really, really excited to hear from you guys. Big kick here from Bruce Houston to clear outside of the Zimbabwe half and move back into the South African A half. Really massive scrum. Nitlin Fosheer looks as though he had hinged a bit on the inside. Oh no, Bowen Fenter rather. Big hit from the Zimbabwean. Maybe that's why the change was made early on in the first half, to get the tight head a bit stronger, somebody with a bit more oomph in him to cause those South Africans a bit of problem. Line out here for the Zimbabwe side. Big ball to Bruce Houston, ball on the inside. Big hit by Yakin Ahmed, pushing the Zimbabweans back a little bit. Bruce with the big chip through the middle. Almost collected by the Zimbabweans. However, it looks as though ball's not coming out. Referee says Zimbabwean scrum. Zim on the attack here, looking to get a bit more inventive, throwing the ball around, making some big calls, some chips, some chases, and sticking to their guns with using their boot. Really exciting to see what the Zimbabwe side has to offer today. Really good to see our South African, or our neighbors, and what they have to offer. More African sides we have moving the ball forward and playing some good rugby, the better it is for the continent. I mean, they really have put on a decent show here today. Mudley, 49-7, thinks that the Springboks are going to have or the South African A side are going to have a really good second half. I agree that I do think Zimbabwe will score in the second half. Big scrum from Zimbabwe, carried up really big from Kudzai Mashawi. Knock on, unfortunately, by the big number 12 for Zimbabwe. South Africa will look to win the scrum and get the ball up into the right areas of where they want to play. Handling errors been quite a few today for a warm, dry day in PE or Kubeka. Exciting to hear what they would have to say at the end of the game. It looks as though it's been raining with the number of handling errors that there's been today. But yeah, guys just can't seem to keep the balls in their hand. Would be nice if the Sables could score twice. Would make the game really interesting if they did that before the South African A side scored again. Really exciting. And they got really close in the first half. So let's see what these guys have to offer. Big scrum from the Springbok, the South African A side. Penalty advantage. Referee blowing a whistle. South Africa winning that battle with the forwards currently, giving Yakin Ahmed a big chance to make a big clearance, move the South African A side back into the Zimbabwe Sables into their half, rather. Sorry. Big clearance from Yakin, great exit on the Zimbabwe 10-meter line, and looking to build off of that, get some front foot balling and move ahead, see what the boys can do from there. Looking forward to hearing from you guys, hearing what you guys think in terms of players. Who on the Zimbabwe side has really impressed you today? Which of the South African youngsters have really impressed you today? South African line-out, Ruben van Heerden collects the ball. Nico van Zyl to Yakin Ahmed to Lucanio getting over that line. Jerenza Julius doing some cleaning out work. Unfortunately, Zimbabwe have made another infringement there. Dylan Tete with the infringement. Referee saying no clear release, giving Akin Ahmed an opportunity to pin Zimbabwe back in their own 22. Great kick from the South African loose fly half. Massive carry up by Bato Klekani. Unfortunately, just no release after the tackle from the Zimbabweans. Bato Klekani getting the time to go off the field, and now this is someone we're excited to see. South Africa making quite a few changes here by the looks of things, giving a couple of guys run. But Bato had a really, really big game today. I thought he had some really good impact. Looked really, really good up until his substitution. Now, South Africa, again, struggling with their lineout. Zimbabwe win the lineout again. And it's time for the South African A side to have a good hard look at themselves in terms of who they believe is the right guy to move forward. South Africa have brought on the likes of Siba Mahashe. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful loose forward from the Lions. Really, really talented rugby player. However, they're just struggling to win their lineouts. Zimbabwe look to have the South African A number in the lineouts. And then we have Hunter Jacobs on in the 18 jersey for Netlin Fashir, another man looking to fight for a spot at tight head in Rassie Erasmus's Springbok side. Definitely somebody with a lot of talent, a big, big, big unit, and somebody who's going to look to scrum his way into that Springbok side. South Africa scrum just outside the 22. Time to move forward, looking for another scrum penalty. Referee says unit. Yaku Williams to Lucanio who breaks through into the Zimbabwe 22. Emmanuel Tutuka with a strong carry, but massive hit by the Zimbabweans, holding him back. Siba Mahashe, the man we are all looking forward and excited to see playing some rugby for the South African A side today. Massive carry from the boys, looking to get over the Zimbabwean try line. 5 meters out, big push, big effort from the South African A side. Yakin Ahmed with a little chip and chase. Oh, Yakin Ahmed taking a play out in the air. Very, very dangerous by the young South African fly half. Doesn't look as though it was all that intentional. However, it could be dangerous for the South African fly half here. Taking out who looks to be Tapiwa Mafura, the Zimbabwe fullback. Any word regarding Siyaya's HIA? Nothing yet, but considering he hasn't come back onto the field, doesn't look good for the young South African flyer. Looks as though he may have failed his HIA, and really with a big knee to the head earlier from his own teammate. Really looking dangerous for the young player. We really wish him well and hope he recovers soon. Yakin Ahmed running through. Oh, Yakin making a tackle on the player in the air, not allowing him to come down. Player landing on what looks to be his arm and then shoulder. Maybe the only thing that saves him, but it's not looking good for the young South African fly half. Unfortunately, you just can't take somebody out in the air like that. It is dangerous. Landing on his arm, then his shoulder and head. Really, 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 really dangerous for the South African. Referee going to have a look at this. TMO going to have a look at this. And really hoping Tapiwa Mafura comes out okay after taking it. Referee says tackle without arms, yellow card for Yakin Ahmed. Unfortunately, the young fly half is going to have to sit for 10 minutes and have a look at what he's done there. Unfortunate Unfortunate for the South African A side, really in a good position attacking. And just another mistake made by the South African A side. A lot of guys making a lot of mistakes. And so hopefully they can come through this on the other side. Big chance for the Zimbabwean side to clear here, allowing Bruce Houston to get a big clearance out of the Zimbabwean 22 and allow them to win their own line-out and march up the field, cause some trouble for now a 14-man South African A side. Bruce clearing it just outside the Zimbabwean 10, looking to march up the field and get himself and his side moving forward. Try to take advantage of a weakened South African side. South African coaches are not very happy with Yakin Ahmed at the moment. Line out from the Zimbabwean side, taken up, passed out to Bruce Houston. Big carry by the Zimbabwean side. Bruce again directly involved. All gaps seeming to form. Unfortunately, a knock on the wing by Edward Sigauke. Unfortunate by the Zimbabweans, looking to exploit the space now of a 14-man South African side. Really unfortunate knock on there. Something that the South Africans really can do. The South Africans really need to watch out for with 14 men on the field. These guys are looking to play. They are looking to spread the ball wide and will be looking to take advantage of that man down for the South African side. The South African A side, it looks like Tapiwa Mafura is running around, going off the field. Unfortunately, that head knock or that high tackle looks as though it might have done a bit of damage. Dion Kumalo on the field for him, hoping to make an impact at fullback for the Zimbabwean side. Big scrum here, just within the Zimbabwean half, just outside the 50-meter line for the South African A side. Nico Steyn to put the ball in, looking for a massive scrum here by the South African A side. Maybe win a penalty or get an advantage to build off of, so that the South African A side can maybe try to take advantage, even though they only have 14 players on the field. Stable scrum. Nico Steyn puts the ball in. Referee says use it. Looks like Luan's going to move into the 10 role. He is a little loop around off of Marcus Miller. Lucanio puts it on the boot, turning the Zimbabwean defense around. Zimbabwean defense, massive hit by Jerenza Julius. South Africa trying to get over the ball with Siba Mahashe. However, Zim will look to exit here, keep the ball within the forwards, and then exit once they get a better angle for the scrum off to kick on the box kick. Guys, let me know who's really impressed you from the South African A side or the Zimbabwean side in the first 54 minutes of this game. Still 21-0 to the South African A side. However, they are a man down with Yakin Ahmed's yellow card for a tackle in the air. Something that the South African side will look to change. Andre Smith coming onto the field at the moment. It looks like he is on for Pepsi Buthelezi. Massive change, meaning Vincent Chachuka will probably move to lock and then move one of those locks over to 8th man. I think it might be Siba Mahashe that might move to 8th man, with him being a versatile loose forward. Exciting player for the future. Andre Smith taking the line out after immediately coming onto the field. Maybe he is the solution to the Springbok line out errors at the moment. Stormers-based player, really big man. And so seeing whether or not he can affect the Springbok more. South Africa more marches into the Zimbabwe 22. However, the referee says use it. Lucanio putting the ball to boot again, breaking free for the South African side. He ends up with it, and he's breaking through onto the 5-meter line. Nico Steyn with a big pass hitting the South African pack, moving forward. The big boys want to get involved here. They want to get rumbling and tumbling. Nico Steyn urging his troops forward. Nico Steyn breaking over the line. Nico Steyn scoring a try for South Africa in the second half. 26-0 to the South African A side. Nico Steyn breaking off the back of a ruck, scoring a great little try for the scrum half. Something that all scrum halves dream of scoring and doing. Very, very exciting for this South African A side. 26-0. Time for the conversion that will now be taken by Luan Gilame, with Yakin Ahmed going off the field and still off the field. 6 minutes still to go on that yellow card. The Young Sharks utility back, if you want to call him anything, looking to make a bit of an impact here in the South African A side. Nailing his conversion. 28-0 to the South African A side. Exciting stuff from Nico Steyn. Second time a scrum half has scored through a show and go here. Zimbabwe really looking to try and stop that from the South African A side. Referee pausing time to speak to the captain of the South African side. Probably a bit of a review on the Yakin Ahmed yellow card, if it's going to be upgraded. Hand is in the pocket. Referee is letting the South Africans know. High level of danger, no arms, she says. And the yellow card has been upgraded to a red card. That is the last we'll see of Yakin Ahmed today. Unfortunately, the number 10 making a massive mistake on the Zimbabwean line, and his afternoon is done. Putting the South Africans at a disadvantage of being down to 14 men for another probably around 16 minutes, considering that will now be a 20-minute red card. Vincent Chituka carrying the ball up. Nico Steyn to Andre Smith. Andre Smith getting over the ball. Henry Jacobs trying to push over the Zimbabweans. However, they've stolen it a little bit too late to the ruck from the South African A side. The Zimbabweans are looking to push and take advantage of a weakened South African A side due to the red card shown to Yakin Ahmed. Swinging the ball out to the wing. Dion Khumalo with the ball over through to Simba Madioma. Big hooker with the dreadlocks looking to get over the South African try line. Back over to Dion Khumalo. Dion Khumalo giving the ball over to Locke, who then gives it over to Edward Sigauke and through to Kudzai Mashawi. Great play here by Zimbabwe, just getting a little bit too loose, trying to break through. Brandon Madzuaeke on the Zimbabwe side. We will be doing the Barbarians match. Graham Leonard definitely will be doing the Barbarians match later this afternoon. Zimbabwe on the attack within the South African 22, trying to get over the advantage line here, trying to make ground up over the Springboks, who are down to 14 men for the next 15 minutes due to the Yakin Ahmed red card. Definitely something that will be hindering the South African side from moving the ball more freely and definitely making defending more difficult. Getting over the ball there, Siamahashe, but not able to affect a turnover just yet. South Africa defending nicely, pushing the Zimbabwean side back outside of their 22. Big hits from the South African side. Big clears from the Zimbabwe side. And Simba Madioma looking to carry the ball up again. Big chip and chase. Luan Gilame. Oh no, Nico Steyn with the mark. Well done by the South African A side. in order to keep this 15-man Zimbabwe side at bay. Big clearance here from Nico Steyn, trying to get the South Africans marching back up the field into a place of safety for as long as they can, without the South African A side conceding while they're down to 14 men. Big look at the Springbok side arriving today at PE. Hopefully the crowd decides to arrive. Anybody have a reason why they think that the crowd wouldn't have arrived for the South African A side today? The stadium still looks relatively empty. Hopefully it fills out later today. Exciting stuff here though. Anybody who you guys think is definitely worth a watch in the South African side? Somebody that you think Rassie is going to have big eye for coming up in the next coming weeks, and somebody you think is going to make a big difference to the South African side? Unfortunately, one of the Zimbabwean players down here looks as though it is struggling to see who that is. Actually, can't see who that is, but Zimbabwean player down on the field. However, they are within the South African half with 15 men looking to take advantage of that South African red card. Yakin Ahmed, tackle in the air, no arms. Unfortunate from the guy. However, will need to sit the rest of this game out and hear his fate later on. Almost 60 minutes played here, and South African A side is 28-0 up. Zimbabwe putting in a big performance today. A lot of guys wrote them off and thought the score would be absolutely massive. However, putting in a performance and saying to the rest of the world, don't write us off just yet. We are still here and we still can make a noise in the world of rugby. Come on, Boca, Luan and Marcus, says Madly van Zyl. I agree, Madly. I think both of those guys have a bright future for the South African side. Both the Springbok and the SAA side. Oh, skew line out from Simba Madioma. Today, he struggled a little bit. However, free kick to the Zimbabwean, says the referee. Looks like numbers were incorrect. A little tap and go move from the Zimbabweans, carried up by the big boys, trying to get some momentum moving forward. Simba Madioma with a smart little inside ball. Pass through to Houston. Another little inside pop. The Zimbabweans are using that big time today, trying to get over the advantage line, trying to get some front foot ball, see what they can get going. South Africans have won the ball. Isetu winning the ball again. The South African under-20 hooker has shown why his experience is really, really massive today. Dion Kumalo cleaning up at the back for the Zimbabwean side after a big chip through for the SAA side. Nico Steyn out to Lucanio onto Leon to Luan, who goes down. Nico Steyn looking for Sia Mahashe. Big strong carry from the Lions, loose forward. Really, really exciting future. Isetu going, ducking the head and running forward, saying, I am a truck. You're not going to stop me. However, the Zimbabweans get over the ball, holding on by the South Africans. Dion Kumalo with a massive, massive, massive turnover there for Bruce Houston to clear out into the South African half. Really well done by the Zimbabweans. I think they've shown some really awesome fight in defense today, although the scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect that. Massive, massive steal from Dion Kumalo. Bruce Houston able to clear, get the ball out. On comes the next two South African players. South Africa replacing the hooker. And the loose head. We are new front row. You have Liam van Wyk on for Isetu Mnebele and Ollie Reed on for Bowen Venter. Guys, final predictions. The last 20 minutes here. South Africa have some work to do to make this scoreline a bit bigger. However, Zim have some work to do to get some points on the board. Line out just outside the South African 50-meter line in the South African half. Big pass by the Zimbabweans, looking to spread the ball wide, take advantage of the 14-man South African A side. Ooh, a little break from the Zimbabweans getting over the line. Bruce Houston getting the ball out to Trevor Gowe, who then goes down in the South African half. South Africa defending very nicely here in their own half. Zim looking to get the ball going. Oh, massive hit from Nico Steyn. Big run from the Zimbabweans out on the wing, breaking back into the South African half. Lots of work to be done defensively here for a 14-man South African side. Only wish you could have seen Henko van Wyk play. It would have been nice to see him play. Zim throw the ball wide, breaking into the South African half. Looks like a knock on there by the Zimbabwean Sables. Almost. Henko van Wyk would have been a really cool addition to this SAA side, I think. Really exciting stuff from the boys. And he's another youngster to keep an eye out for. Definitely agree. How much time's left? We are looking at about 18 minutes of play to go here in this game. Springboks or the South African A side have a scrum in their own half just outside the 22. Big work to be done by the South African A side. And big scrum here for the Zimbabweans. If they can get one over on the South African A side, really put themselves in a good position to score some points. Unfortunate knock-on by the Zimbabwean Sables. South Africa will look to win the ball in their own half and get out of their half, get back into the Zimbabwe half, look to play with the ball a little bit, get going a bit more. 17 minutes to go here. Exciting rugby being shown. A lot less handling errors in the second half by the South African A side and seem to have got their line out sorted. So if they can get something deep into the Zimbabwean half, hopefully they can try to affect the maul or scrum or win some penalties through those set piece players. South African put in on the line out on the scrum here, just outside the South African 22. Nico Steyn to put the ball in for the South African A side. Big scrum. Pressure on the Zimbabweans. Referee says reload. Time to see that again. South Africa have a completely new front row on with Reed, Van Wyk and Jacobs all coming on for the original front row for the South African side. Exciting to see some young talent being pushed in the South African front rowers department. Tends to be a little bit of an older man's job at the moment in the Springbok side. And so seeing some youth and experience come through, like the likes of Zachary Porton in that Springbok side.
Also, Andre.
South Africa have what it takes to build some youth and depth there. Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe as South Africa get a penalty advantage off the scrum. And please, also, we're looking forward to you guys becoming a member. Become a member. The link is in the comments. We'd love to see you, hear your thoughts, understand your thoughts on the game. And great scrum by the young South African new front row here to win a penalty, allow the South Africans to exit without worry. I do think Henko will get his chance, Marius. I think Unfortunate with the amount of injuries he's suffered this year, but definitely one to watch for the future. Exciting young rugby player. Really, really somebody that we could have a look at going forward, especially at centre. Really, really exciting rugby player. South Africans look to maul here. Liam van Wyk with the ball at the back of the maul, moving forward relatively quickly. The Zimbabweans doing all they can to stop it. Penalty to the South African A side. Thanks again for joining us today, guys. Really appreciate your support today on my first time here on Forever Sports Media. Exciting stuff. Exciting to be there. Hopefully we'll get a call back soon to do more of this for you guys. I really, really enjoyed today. Please like and subscribe. Leave a couple of comments. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you are thinking about how the game's gone, what changes we can make, what we can do differently in the future would be really, really nice. South African lineup working much better. Ruben van Heerden going up. South African looking like setting up another maul. Imad Khan on the field. Imad Khan on the field. Looks like what might be Nico there. Imad Khan, all three South African scrum halves getting a try today. What an exciting day for South African scrum half. Springbok A side, really, really, really looking good. Marius, you cannot compare this side, the South African A side, to France or England. I don't believe that either of those sides could put together a side with as much depth and strength as this South African A side. Yes, Ulrich, there was a red card for Yakin Ahmed back in towards the beginning of the second half, more around the 50th minute mark. Unfortunately, taking out Zimbabwean player in the air, dangerous, no arms, clear red for the youngster. Something that he could look to change in the future. South Africa 35-0 up in the 67th minute. Really, really, really well played by the South African side here. Zimbabwe looking to get that donut to a number. Hopefully put some numbers on the board today. Yaku Williams takes the kickoff from Bruce Houston. Imad Khan to get the ball out the base of the ruck to Andre Smith, who carries it up. Big tackle from the Zimbabwean boys here. Really, really hard work. Imad Khan looking to kick. Calling from reinforcements from Siba Mahashe. Puts the ball up and says to Yaku Williams, go get it. And Yaku Williams does exactly that. Luan with a big kick from inside his own half. Looking for the 50-22. Great kick by the South African youngster. Great kick from the South African youngster, putting a lot of pressure on the Zimbabwean side. 50-22, massive 50-22 on from the South African youngster. Looks like a Zimbabwean is down, injured. Hopefully it's just some cramp for the guy. Hopefully he is going to be okay. Not a 50-22. Referee says take it back. Zimbabwe with the line out. Big exit by the Zimbabwean side. Madly van Zyl saying, yes, over 30. Well done, SA. We've done really well today. Looking good from these youngsters, and especially now a 14-man youngster squad with a little bit of experience. Looking exciting, looking good. Line out for the South African A side, just within their own half on the 50-meter line. Liam van Wyk looking good at 100% of his lineouts. Really, really, really exciting to see South African hookers doing really well today. Big carry by the South African side. Lorenzo Julius taking the ball up. Imad Khan having to clean up on the scraps. Luan trying to get the ball out, give it to his forwards and said, you bash it up, that's your job. Imad Khan looking to make a big kick. African think tank, come on Zim. Zim have really done themselves proud today. I think their defense has been really, really exciting. And they've really given the South African A side some trouble within plays. Zimbabwe with the ball in their own half, looking to get out of their own half as much as they possibly can. Looking to go forward. Big carry by the Zimbabweans outside center there, looking to get over the gain line. South Africa looking to try and get over the ball in the ruck. However, Zimbabwe doing well to protect the ball there. Zimbabwe looking exciting here. Big carry up by Tadinashwe Gwashu, really looking to make an impact off the bench here for the South African side. Zim have also made a change. Keegan Joubert coming on at scrum half for their captain, hoping to get the play going a little bit more. Zim looking to spread the ball wide, but Lorenzo Julius reading the play really well and cutting that off as soon as possible. Big kick from Keegan Joubert, trying to pin the South Africans back. Luckily, Luan is back, hopefully making a big clearance out past the 50-meter line. Big clearance by the South African fullback. Now stand in fly half after the red card to Yakin Ahmed. Springboks, the South African A side really looking to get work done and close this game out. They'd like to keep Zimbabwe on 0 for the rest of the game so that they can put their hand up and say, look, we defended really well, Rassie. Give us a shot in your Springbok side. Zimbabwe with the ball in their own half, looking to get exciting and go up. Exciting movement from the Zimbabwe side on the wing. Dion Kumalo carrying the ball up for the Zimbabwe side. 72 minutes in, and Zimbabwe need to try and score some points here. Save some face a little bit. However, the South African A side have made it really difficult for them. So looking exciting going into the last 10 minutes of this game. Looking to see what the Zimbabwe side can do. Chip through from the Zimbabwe side. Almost works out. Almost. Unfortunately, it just seems a day of almost for the Zimbabweans today. A lot of good rugby being played by them, but almost doesn't mean points. Has Miller lived up to the hype and done a good job? Has done a good job at centre? Lukanyo I thought has had a really good game at inside centre today. Marcus Miller scoring a try already. So he's also had a really good game. And moving on to the wing for most of the game since the injury to Siyaya early on in the first half, really has shown testament to the amount of rugby this man can play. Really a good youngster in the South African setup, and exciting one for the future. I think Lukanyo Ahmed inside centre has possibly had one of the better games out of the Springbok South African A side today. I think Siyaya was putting his hand up for a man of the match nomination before his injury. And really looking good. Zimbabwe in the South African half on the 10-meter line, looking to make some inroads into the side. Massive hit by Leon van Wyk. Tried to get over the ball there. South Africa rush defense. Pass out to the Zimbabwe, looking to break through. Cleaned up by Luan Gilome. He's really had a good game for South Africa at fullback and in stepping into fly half today. Nico Steyn back on the field for the South African side. South Africa back to the complement of 15 players. Really, really, really exciting to see this young South Africa A side. Little bit of an exit kick there from Nico Steyn. Last 5 minutes, guys. Give us your thoughts. Player ratings have also opened. Be sure to rate your South African A side and Zimbabwe players' performances on my picks. Link is in the comments. Also, do not forget to like and subscribe, guys. We are excited to hear from you. Leave a comment. Also, become a member. Becoming a member gives you a little bit more insights and a little bit more reward, a little bang for your buck in seeing a bit more behind the scenes stuff. And allowing you to see a bit more on this page. Zimbabwe with a big line out. Keegan, Zim looking to carry the ball on. Oh, knock on from the Zimbabwe side. Thrown it wide. Nico Steyn with a chip through. Ball bounces out. Zimbabwe line out in their half on the 10-meter line. Exciting stuff today. We've seen a lot of South African youngsters. Go and give them a rating on my picks. Please, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the game. We'd love to see who you thought was really, really, really exceptional today and who you thought Rassie is looking at to have a go. Player ratings are open in the comments. Make sure to have a look. Give your thoughts. Let us have a think, or give us a view on your thoughts today. I thought Watchalong was an absolute monster in that first half for South African. I thought he carried the ball well. It shows us how exciting he can be as the future of the South African loose forward. Big maul from the Zimbabweans, looking to get the ball over. Knock on by the Zimbabweans just outside the full half, outside the halfway line, in their own half. South Africa looking to take advantage of the mistakes made by Zimbabwe and hopefully maybe get some more points on the board before the end of the game. How, as the under 20 players, Dylan says, I thought some of them have had some really incredible games today. I think the likes of Luan Guillaume and I thought Watchalong, both of those guys really, really having good games today. Siyaya was brilliant before his injury. And then just a little bit of a word for the likes of Nico Steyn coming off the bench. I thought he's had a really, really good half or good end to the game here, with Hashim Peed having a wonderful first half before going. This Zim side is almost at full strength, also have a couple of injuries. And so I do think that they have a good strong side coming up. Why was Hashim Peed substituted? Look, we had 2 scrum halves on the bench, so at some point he was going to have to come off the field. I thought before he did come off the field, he was really, really good, really, really exciting. Took the game on really well. So I do think that he deserves a bit of a run, maybe in that South African side, or even not only the South African A side, but the Springbok side as well. I do think he's one of the players Rassie's going to have a look at. Tutuka brothers really had a good day today. Both Vincent and Emmanuel playing well. Luan breaking around the outside and unfortunately slipping out in the Zimbabwean 22, almost breaking through and scoring a try. Really, really, really strong performance from the SAA side here today. I think Luan Guillaume is my man of the match. Really exciting youngster, the outside back, utility back, if you want to call him anything, but has a lot to show and has turned some heads. I think Rassie will definitely give him a go in the near future. Zimbabwe with a line out on their own 22, breaking off of the maul there. The Zimbabwean replacement hooker. Some Africa looking to push him out of play. Last 30 seconds here. Will Zim get some points on the board, or will they end on 0 for the day? Big kick by Dion Kumalo. Yaku Williams running onto it. Yaku Williams showing his pace, going for the corner. Yaku Williams scores for South Africa to end the game. Yaku Williams showing why he was picked, showing his wheels, collects the ball from the chip over by Dion Kumalo and running in to score his first try of the game. 40-0 to South Africa. With time up, will we manage to knock over the conversion, make it 42-0? Or will we end there? I think a great performance for the South African A side, and really the cherry on the cake for Yaku Williams, who I thought has done some really hard work to South Africa today. Good effort by the South African A youngsters. Really, really, really exciting stuff for these guys. Watching them come through the ranks. Yes, JP, seeing that Nico Steyn was originally in the Springbok plans before Peed. However, Peed has done a lot to prove. South Africa missed the conversion, and that is the end of the game. South Africa winning 40-0 against the Zimbabwean Sables. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, join our channel, become a member. Guys, also player ratings are open. Please make sure to give us your ratings. Let us know who you thought performed really, really well. And thanks for watching with me. It's been really exciting to be on here with you guys today. Looking forward to